that I like to talk about goal setting. Number one, the power of it. One of the things that I've observed is the fact that goal setting by itself creates a kind of power that I can't seem to explain. Maybe for one, it concretizes your vision. For the first time, you'll be seeing the possibility in your vision by just, crystallizing your vision into a line of or set of goals. Number two, I believe that an energy is created from the universe, to actually help you in actualizing that goal. There's just some form of energy, some form of power that I think is released, because what happens is that you start meeting the right people and at the right place at the right time. Opportunities tend to come in the direction of goal setters. Hello there. Welcome to another episode of the Business Building Block, B3, powered by the B360 Media. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you another major block in building business, okay? And we're going to keep it simple and straight. In the previous episode, we've looked at the superstructure in terms of the basic infrastructure you need to have, which is certain foundational truth. One of it, of course, will be the need for you to have a long haul mindset before you start anything, okay? And the last time we spoke about the power of vision. So we're going to build more on that today. And today I'll be talking about setting goals. More specifically, I will also be hammering and emphasizing the need for you to always think big. Africa has been said to be the last frontier. There are several opportunities that we can take advantage of at this time in this season on the African continent. Of course, there are several infrastructural roadblocks. There are several challenges in terms of policy somersault. There are a lot of challenges economically, even politically, that we can even use more like an excuse as an alibi not to, begin to build something big and something massive, But however, there's always gap in the market. There's always the opportunities that you can take advantage of in spite of all the challenges that can probably exist in a given market. So we need to look for the excuses. We need to highlight them, right? And we need to provide solutions to them. So in other words, for example, the other day, I was trying to prompt Perplexity on certain go-to-market strategy. One of the things I had to put there is that it needs to show me the blind spots. It needs to show me the blind spot. It needs to show me the challenges. So we need to be conversant and get used to the fact that there's nothing that you want to achieve on earth and in terms of business that will not come with its own challenges. Okay? And it's going to vary from one thing to another. But the most important thing is that you can always make provision to solve or avoid those challenges whenever and wherever that is possible. So let's get straight into it. The way to dimension vision, actually, of course, is to turn it into a set goal. So vision will be abstract until you turn it to a clearly defined set of goals. And of course, we know the general thing of the general model, of course, that is being used for goal setting, that your goals must be smart, it must be measurable, it must be achievable, it must be realistic, and it must be time-bound. And other people have tried to work around that model, but I think it is simple enough to understand. But beyond all those rhetorics, from experience, there are certain things that I think that I like to talk about goal setting. Number one, the power of it. One of the things that I've observed is the fact that goal setting by itself creates a kind of power that I can't seem to explain. Maybe for one, it concretizes your vision. For the first time, you'll be seeing the possibility in your vision by just, crystallizing your vision into a line of or set of goals. Number two, I believe that an energy is created from the universe, to actually help you in actualizing that goal. There's just some form of energy, some form of power that I think is released, because what happens is that you start meeting the right people and at the right place at the right time. Opportunities tend to come in the direction of goal setters. Because I think the whole idea is that goal setting brings to you the consciousness and the realization of that goal by itself. And by default, it makes you spot opportunity right on. In any case, I think it's just easy to understand that it's whatever you're looking for that you get. So that's something about it. So people don't set goals because they're always thinking in terms of the resources to actualize the goal. But one of the things I will encourage the audience to do today is just set it first and leave it. Set goals first. Go over it again and again. Go over it again and again. Whatever you can do from your side, maybe attending a conference, researching things, and it's so amazing. It's so amazing. You can't believe with the advent of AI, what you can achieve by research. Research is now advanced, where you don't necessarily need to just Google search and you'll be going through several layers of website. Gemini, Meta AI, Perplexity particularly, which is what I use, can actually help you to distill your thought by just prompted different questions. As it's coming to your mind, it will be redefining or refining, the answers to certain questions in your mind, give you opportunity, point you in certain direction. What also happened is that, like I said earlier, resources will start coming your way. The right relationship, the right opportunity, you will just find yourself in the right room with the right people. So goal setting is extremely powerful. And one of the things goal setting does also is to demystify retake. One of the things goal setting does is to actually also demystify that particular thing you're trying to achieve. So suddenly, once you can crystallize it into certain points, you realize that this thing is actually not too far-fetched. So one of the things I would also advocate, one of the practical strategies that I will also tell you in goal setting is to actually have an overarching goal that you can now distill into a short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. In other words, and you should have like a 20 years horizon. So already, as I am now, I have like a 20 years overview. What I want to achieve from now till 20. Then I can break it down to medium term, which is 5 to 10 years. So I already know how my life should pan between for 5 to 10 years now, and the things I need to achieve 0 to 5 years from now. So I can distill it, and that informs how I use my time and my resource. Over the weekend, I was evaluating certain activities in my life and how I need to, rejig and rework some of these things out. Goal setting actually lets you prioritize how you use your energy or your resource generally, your finance, your time, your energy, the places you go. So I had to do that prompt evaluation, and I know exactly where I'm supposed to, the direction I'm supposed to head. That's the power of goal setting, because now you can now begin to harness and assess all the resources that have been provided in front of you. This morning, I had a conversation with one of the teams in my subsidiary, telling them the exact timeline that we need to follow. So because there's a 24-month blow by blow, week by week, month by month strategy for us to go to market on that particular product they're trying to sell. In terms of even professional development, that evaluation based on my goal is making me enroll in some advanced study that will enhance what I need to do in 10 years. This particular thing needs to be done now, because it gives me that springboard for what I'm trying to achieve by 2035. So that's what goal setting does. It makes you to prioritize what is important and which direction you should be heading. So in that, you have the long-term perspective, you have the medium-term, and you have the short-term perspective. So the question is that what would the next 20 years look like for you? Or on the dot of, let's say, 60 or 50, depending on where you are in your life now, what do you want to be reckoned that you've achieved? What exactly are you chasing? Remember in the previous episode, recall that we spoke about the need for you to have big, hairy, audacious goal, big, hairy, audacious vision, something that will make you want to wake up every morning to pursue and actualize, So you have that 20 years horizon, you have a 5-year, 10 years horizon, and everything must be logically sequenced and aligned. That you have your short-term goal, which is what are you chasing between now and the next 24 months? And by extension, 2 years to 5 years. So that practically will help you. Now, the third point I'd like to raise is to be incremental in your goal setting. Because goal setting and achievement begets another goal setting and achievement. In other words, it breeds a kind of confidence in you, right? That once you start and you see that you can actualize, it propels you to go in a certain direction. So for example, 3 years ago, I set a goal to hit a particular figure within the business, 9-figure, and it happened. Now, I wanted to be sure that I was not an outlier, a situation. I rejigged that in the direction of another business within the group, which is like the lead business, because I wanted to change within every group of company. There seems to be a primary business. So I wanted to change my primary business. So I diverted that particular goal for the next year, which was year 2, into that particular business. I realized that I was able to achieve that. So what did I do for last year? I planned to achieve double of that goal, which I did. So you see, track record of goals achievement would let you also understand that this thing, let me be candid with you. When I set that particular goal in the year 1, that was like, let me sort of say 3 years ago, right? I told myself I was actually a clown, that I'm a comedian. That cannot happen. How will I achieve that? But because I steadied my mind, by focusing on the next important critical step, which will be the next point, but let me land this point first, is that I was able to achieve that. And suddenly I was able to, think of the fact that I can actually double that goal. Guess what? When I achieved that last year, I 5x what I achieved last year. That's what I'm chasing this year. And fingers crossed, it's almost mid of the year. I think we've not done badly. Are we going to achieve the 5x? I'm still working and grinding every day. But the fact of the matter, because having achieved that goal last year, I was just now angry with myself to say, I've been thinking small. But do you know why I could think that way? Because in the year prior, I've been able to surpass that. So you must always go on an incremental basis. But that does not mean you should think small. Have a big goal, but go in that incremental manner. The next point is that every goal is achieved in installment. So one of the things you need to do in your goal setting exercise, haven't probably done your long-term, medium-term, short-term goal, is to come to the present and ask yourself, what are the 3-4 most critical things that I need to do today to move me in the direction of my goal? That has always helped me. And you must understand your peak points every day. For Jeff Bezos, he doesn't take any decision after 10 a.m. in the morning. For me, my day starts probably around 10 to 11. But I want to make sure that I track the most critical activity and task that is important for me to move in the direction of where I need to go part-time. Like for today, I've done that. I've had some meetings that are very critical, some update meeting with some of my team members. I've made some business development call. I've made some call in the area of my professional advancement. So I can say that I've done 3, 4, 5 things. So it's always between 3 to 5 things that you need to do daily. 3 to 5 things. So if you have a financial goal within your business, of course, my financial goal for the business is already known for the year. And I've also shared it with the team. But more specifically, I keep it and I walk in that direction every day, because what I've done is to now break it down on a monthly basis. So in order for me to achieve that, I must do something today or do something tomorrow or do something next tomorrow, moving me in the direction of that goal. For example, how many new clients do I need to prospect today to achieve that? How do I also talk to existing clients? How do I chase on invoice? How do I, if my PO is getting, if it's going to expire, for a new financial year, I need to chase that. If I need to call a vendor, if I need to follow up on a particular prospect, there are always 3 or 4, 5 things that you can do today that can push you in the right direction for what you need to achieve, retake. There are 2, 3, 4, 5 things you need to do on a daily basis that needs to push you in the right direction. If you do that, you will be amazed the kind of success you can achieve. You will be amazed how easy is it to actualize goals. That's why at times I look at myself with certain goals I've set and I've achieved, right? And I'm almost like, how did I even get so much of this? But when I actually sit down to evaluate what I've done in the past, I realize that there are quantum of activities that I've done in the right direction that have accrued, or should I say accumulated, in that actualization of that particular goal. So you need to be very, very conscious on a daily basis, and you must quickly use your energy in that direction before you get distracted, before your energy gets dissipated for the day. A lot of us overround unimportant things that are unimportant, things that are not urgent, rather than focus on important and urgent stuff that pushes us in the right direction. Another point I would like to raise is to have a framework around actualization of your goal. There has to be a structure. So if you're talking in the context of business, you must have mechanism and system to be able to track. For example, we're building a software within the business for our own use. Of course, we have a tech expression, so some of our clients can use it. But one of the things I insisted that they built in that HR system is a tax management system, where you can actually achieve, you can actually write out your task, your goals, then your tax, and always put it in the bucket, maybe called finished, in progress, or still on it. One of the things I've even told the tech team to do is to actually put an AI system inside that, where you can actually voice and it is actually typing for you. So you must make sure the system is very ubiquitous, very easy, nothing complicated. Otherwise, once people get overwhelmed, now I'm talking in terms of business goal setting, because when it comes to goal setting, it's not about individual goals alone. As a CEO, you have that motivation, but more often than not, your team might not have the same level of passion or motivation. So there has to be structure within the business. Then the concept of deadline needs to be understood by all the parties within the system. Any goal without a deadline is a dead end. You can write that down. Any goal without a deadline is a dead end. You will get to that point and realize that nothing has been achieved and nothing will be achieved. So there has to be timelines, there has to be deadline, there has to be the person responsible and in charge of that particular task. If you need to subdivide that task into different components that makes it for easy actualization, you might need to do that. But you must have a system and a framework for actualizing goals within your organization. And you must be able to rally around. Then within an organization, there must be consequences when people don't achieve goals, and there must be reward when they do. So you have to make sure that you build a culture within your business system that makes people respect the primacy of goal, and they need to achieve it. Because the collective goal, the individual goal retake, because individual goals eventually cascade into collective goals. So you set a general overarching goal, you break it down. It's to the extent that people can actualize that goal that will be said that you've actualized the overarching corporate or business goal. So you need to make sure there's a system in terms of deadline, timelines, if there are softwares or productivity tools that you need to buy to enhance and make sure that these goals are achieved. So now I want to talk about dreaming big. And this is the part that I would like to really lean in and talk to you about the fact that there's several opportunities within the continent. You must think, because in your thoughts, you have outstanding ideas, outstanding vision that will come to you. And one of the ways to even understand, like a framework, is to find out what's going on in other clients. There are several things that are happening in the global retake. There are several things that is happening in China, in Australia, in the US, Germany, and all of that you can actually look at how can I distill that with the whole specific and special nuance of Africa to say this must be done. There are several gaps. There are several opportunities. But the whole idea is, are you going to dream? Are you going to dream to the extent that you can set it up in form of goals that you can make smart? So that at the end of the day, this can lead to actualization of goals, and we can advance the continent, we can advance the country. But we need big thinkers. We also need big doers. The difference is in goal setting. Thank you, guys. That's what I have for you on this episode of Business Building Blocks today. I'd like you to follow us across all social media platforms at the Business 360. So you go on YouTube, subscribe, and follow us. And also, I'd like you to personally follow me on all of my social media platforms at the Dami Olanrewaju, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all that, and Instagram. And I'd like to see you on another episode. Till then, keep winning, keep flying. Thank you.